That's one of the stats I did love coming into this game, was that between...
This is the last thing that France wants to see.
Is there actually a way to stop Kylian Mbappe? Because if there is, nobody has found it yet. Coaches have tried everything. Double teams, deep blocks, physical man markers, entire tactical philosophies built around a single question, and every single time, the answer they get back on the scoreboard is basically the same. This wasn't some minor group stage fixture either. This was a World Cup quarterfinal, the kind of match where one mistake ends your tournament and one moment of brilliance can define an entire career. Morocco had earned their place here the hard way, grinding through a difficult group and knocking out sides that were supposed to be tougher outs than them. They walked into this game as underdogs on paper, but not as pushovers, and everyone connected with French football knew it. The theory always sounds simple enough. Shut down his supply. Deny him the ball before he ever gets a chance to face you one-on-one. Stay compact, keep your defensive line low, and whatever you do, don't leave a gap between your backline and your midfield. Every tactics board in world football has some version of this plan scribbled on it. And for about 60 minutes in this World Cup quarterfinal, Morocco actually pulled it off. They set up exactly the way you'd expect a disciplined, defense-minded team to set up against the best player on the planet. Deep line, tight passing lanes, total trust in their goalkeeper. For an entire hour, they absorbed wave after wave of French pressure and gave up almost nothing. It looked, for a while, like maybe this was the day someone finally figured it out. And then Mbappé decided that was enough of that. What happened next is worth slowing down for, frame by frame almost, because it says everything about why this player is so difficult to deal with. It isn't just his speed, even though the speed is real. It isn't just the finishing, even though the finishing is elite. It's something closer to psychological warfare, something that happens before the ball even moves. Mbappé can be standing completely still, ball resting under his foot, doing absolutely nothing, and defenders still start to unravel a little. That's the aura people talk about. One small drop of the shoulder, one subtle shift of weight, and suddenly every defender within 20 yards feels the danger arriving. You don't even need him to move. The threat alone does the damage, because everyone on that pitch has seen the highlight reel, and nobody wants to be the next clip. So picture the scene. Desire Du finds him with a clever little touch just outside the box. Mbappé takes it under control, drags it once, drops that shoulder, and pauses. And the defender in front of him, Issa Diop, does not bite. He holds his position. And honestly, that's the smart read. Everyone watching knows exactly why he's doing it. If Diop lunges in, Mbappé skips past him and it's a straight foot race toward goal, and we all know how that usually ends. In fact, on paper, Morocco's shape in that exact moment is close to perfect, maybe the best it's been all match. Diop has cut off the angle toward the near post completely. The other defenders behind him have the cut-inside lane covered. The goalkeeper is up on his toes, balanced, positioned dead center. A midfielder is sprinting back at full pace to close down whatever time and space might still be left. By every normal defensive standard, textbook standard, coaching manual standard, Mbappé is boxed in. He has nowhere obvious to go, and for a split second it genuinely looks like this might be the moment the block finally holds. Except this is Mbappé, and nowhere obvious has never really stopped him before. He lifts his foot just slightly off the ground, barely more than an inch, just enough to make Diop flinch and pull his legs together to guard against a nutmeg or a deflected shot. And that tiny, almost involuntary reaction is all the space he needs. In that instant there's exactly one route to goal left open, and somehow he's already seen it before anyone else on the pitch has. It's like he mapped the entire geometry of the penalty box the moment the ball touched his foot. Where Diop stood. Where the keeper stood. Exactly how far the far post curved away from both of them. He strikes it from just inside the area, and the ball bends around Diop like the defender was never really part of the equation at all, curling into the far side netting on its way in. No chance for the goalkeeper. None whatsoever. It's the kind of finish that gets replayed for years. That goal broke the game wide open, and honestly, it broke Morocco's spirit right along with it. You could almost see the belief drain out of the team in real time. A second goal followed not long after, Mbappé turning provider this time, threading a pass that set up a teammate to make it 2, and from that point on, the result was never really in doubt. 60 minutes of knee-perfect defending, undone in about 6. Zoom out for a second, and the numbers around this guy get almost absurd. He's now found the net in something close to 20 World Cup matches out of 20 appearances, a strike rate that barely makes sense on paper. 3 straight semifinals reached, barely any losses on this stage across his entire career, and even the rare defeats come with an asterisk attached, whether it's a dead rubber group game he barely played half of, or a final where he still somehow walked away with a hat trick despite the result. Nobody in the modern game has built a bigger reputation on the World Cup stage than this guy, and every single time it looks like some team has finally cracked the code, he reminds the entire sport that the code doesn't actually exist. And it's worth remembering how many different versions of this same story we've already watched play out. Different tournaments, different opponents, different formations on the whiteboard, but somehow the same ending waiting at the finish line. Teams have tried packing men behind the ball. They've tried assigning their fastest defender to shadow him step for step. They've tried fouling him early to knock his rhythm, pressing him high to deny him space to turn, even sacrificing an entire game plan just to keep 2 players within arm's reach of him at all times. None of it has produced a reliable blueprint, because the problem was never really about numbers or positioning in the first place. It's about a player who can manufacture something out of nothing in the smallest sliver of space imaginable, and who seems to get calmer, not more rattled, the tighter that space becomes. So way back to the original question, the one that keeps getting asked every single tournament, every single knockout round, every single time a defense manages to hold him quiet for a while. How do you actually stop Kylian Mbappe? Sit deep. Stay compact. Trust your goalkeeper. Do everything textbook correct for 60 straight minutes if you have to. And it still might not matter in the end, because sometimes the only honest answer is that you simply don't stop him. You just hope, quietly, that tonight is one of the rare nights he has an off game. This quarterfinal ended the way plenty of these matches have ended lately, with France cruising to a comfortable 2-0 win and Mbappé sitting right at the center of it, even after missing a penalty earlier in the match that could easily have rattled a lesser player. He scored the opener, set up the second, and walked off the pitch with his side 1 win away from another World Cup final, while the rest of the football world went right back to asking the same unanswerable question they've been chasing for the better part of a decade now. Maybe that's just the deal with generational players like him. You don't really solve them, no matter how good your game plan looks on a whiteboard. You just try to survive them for 90 minutes, stay organized, stay brave, and hope that tonight isn't the night he decides to remind you exactly who he is.